Hey y'all, this is Buy It, Build It, Fix It. I am Joni and welcome back for part 2 of the Back to Education series. Today we're going to be talking about budgeting and being frugal while shopping for your grade school student. So if this is what you're interested in, you want to find out how to save a few dollars or not spend as much, stay tuned. All right, so the first thing you need to do is assess what your child needs. And there's several categories that go along with that. First, assess their class and study essentials. Look at their school supplies. Now, I know if they've already been in grade school, they more than likely have been hard on those backpacks. Again, if it's something that they use every single day, then of course, that's probably going to be something you need to replace. So we're going to be looking at backpacks or book bags, depending on where you're from. Whether or not they need any pencils or pens, highlighters, markers, 3-ring binders, what size 3-ring binders they will need, spiral notebooks, folders. All of those things are factors to consider when you're assessing the school supplies, needs, and essentials. Now, you can find most of this stuff that they need on the school supply list. And there are places like Walmart and Target, I believe they have those. If you're in that particular area where your school is located, you can find those things, or maybe you can call up to the school to see if they have that available. Next, under assessing the class or study essentials, look at the electronics that your child may or may not need. Now, some schools provide laptops. That's what we're finding. A lot of schools provide laptops. So you may not need to get any of those items. However, there are some students who like to have their own personal items at school, so that's something else to consider. I would say go with the school-approved electronics first and just have the others at home as a backup. So you may need to invest in a new computer, CPU, if you want to have that traditional one with the monitor and the keyboard. Also, you may want to look at getting a laptop. That's something else that child could have. Maybe you need a new printer, some ink for the printer, maybe a tablet. So those are some things to consider as you are assessing the needs that your particular child or children may need as far as electronics are concerned for their class or study essentials. Now also, the child may need additional materials, additional books. Many of the books that are provided are online, so they don't really have to physically carry a book like you may have had to do growing up. So if they need additional materials, that may mean having a few novels throughout the year. Find out what their reading list is for the year and see if you need to go ahead and purchase those things. They may need workbooks for certain things within their classes. So check those things out. Try to call up to the school if you don't have an idea of what those are. If they're not listed on that school supply list, then that may be something that maybe you can get in contact with their teacher or get in contact with someone in that department so that you can find out what your child needs. The second thing that you need to assess is the home study spaces. Where will your child be studying? If it's in their bedroom, will they need a new desk, a new chair? Maybe you have a specific space within your home that already has a desk set up and has the chair, but decide where you want your child to study. They may need a lamp for the desk or extra lighting within the room. Some children prefer not to have so much lighting. You want to be able to be flexible because every child learns differently and they prefer certain things over others, things that you may not even consider. Maybe you like a lot of light, but your child doesn't. So, or maybe some children do better at a desk versus being on a sofa or on the floor. So those are some things to think about when they are studying. Additionally, what kind of decor would you like for those study spaces if you have a specific study space for your child? You may want to add a cork board. You may want to add a dry erase board, a chalkboard, but different things that they can put up, maybe different notes that they may have to refer to. So think about how that atmosphere will look for them while they're studying. The next thing that you need to assess for back to school is their clothing. Some people have children that are going to be going to school. They won't have to worry about uniforms. However, if you're not worrying about uniforms, you need to look at what your child is still able to wear. Children grow so fast, and within a year, sometimes parents have to replace clothes 2 or 3 times because the child is growing so fast. So look at what they're able to wear. What can they get away with that maybe you purchased during the summer that you can actually get them going right away with those particular clothes. So consider that. Also, if they have outgrown things, again, you want to think about getting rid of those items and replacing them. Now, if they have uniform, it's the same thing. If they've done uniforms in the previous year, maybe this is their first year doing uniforms. So if that's the case, you will still have to go out and buy some things. If it's a uniform, they may have to have a certain color. Maybe the previous year they wore red. This year they're wearing green. Be mindful of those things. They're probably going to need new bottoms. Your child may need a skirt or pants or jeans or anything of that nature, whatever the school dress code is, because that's what you really want to focus on. What is the dress code? What can my child wear and wear without having to be bothered during the day because it's inappropriate? What is my child supposed to wear because this is the uniform that the school is requiring. Shoes. Again, children grow so quickly. They're in one size one day and 2 days later they're in another size. So assess whether or not your child can still wear the same shoes that they've had in the past. If not, and how good they look. If not, then that is something to consider and to decide whether or not you need to purchase more shoes or not. Finally, when you're assessing needs, think about the after-school programs that your child may be a part of. Some of the after-school programs are free, which means that your child can stay after school, they get a snack, they can participate in things where they are learning, or maybe they're doing some gaming, maybe just depending on what it is. It might be a fine arts activity that's involved, but engineering, there are so many different types of after-school programs. Now, if that's the case, then you may not need to spend any money because everything will be provided. There are some other after-school programs that may require you to purchase more things, and the cost of the items that your child may need for an after-school program or to participate in an after-school activity may be something that there may be items that your child may need for personal use versus a fee that your child may have to pay to participate in the after-school activity. There are so many situations and things that may cause you to have to spend more money. So think about the budget you have for that. For instance, if your child is in the band, some bands will require your child to have, let's say your child plays the clarinet. Depending on the school, they may not provide the instrument for your child. So you will probably have to get the instrument, which means you either purchase it or rent it. And you will also need, for the upkeep or the continuation of playing that instrument, your child will need reeds. So think about that. I don't know how much reeds cost nowadays, but your child may need some extra things with that. Something like dance. Your child may need to have uniform. They may have to pay for tights, or they may have to pay for the personal items that they are wearing on their bodies. So those are all some things that you have to consider when starting back to school for grade level students. Also, you want to find out what the overall cost is to participate. Hopefully you've already gotten a list of line items of things that are needed for your child to participate in an after school activity. And again, additionally, there may be some other fees, monthly fees for their after school activity. Just depends on the director or the sponsor, whoever's in charge. So find out how much everything will cost over time. See if there's a way that you can do a payment plan, or find out what is most pressing and try to see if you can get those things first, and then as the year progresses you can get the other thing. Now, I know that was a lot and I gave you so much to think about, but now we're at a point where we can actually put together some type of budget. Yay! Alright, so let's do the next step. Let's create a budget. We want to list the items by the categories that we mentioned and the subcategories. And if you have additional categories or subcategories, make sure you include those as well. Find out what a ballpark figure is on some of the things that you're interested in purchasing for your child, and try to have an idea that'll start giving you an idea of how much you're willing to spend or how much you're able to budget for. Maybe you need to take some things out. Maybe you can add some more things. It depends on how much you plan to spend.
So let's get into this budget a little more. First, we want to put our class and study essentials. Remember, those are your school supplies, the electronics, and also the books. Next is home study essentials. Think about the furniture like desks and chairs, your lighting, whether you want a desk lamp or even fairy lights. Cork boards or whiteboards or chalkboards will also be under the board section for that. And then clothing. If you have a student who is going to a school where they just have a dress code but they don't have to worry about the uniform, then you need to consider tops and bottoms for that child. And then also uniforms that can include shirts, hoodies, and cardigans. And for all students, shoes and outerwear. Then we have the after school activities, and that can include your participation fees and tuition, and also the miscellaneous materials like books and instruments and clothing.
Next, do a price comparison. Make sure that you're looking at all the different stores. So we're talking about school supplies, electronics. We're also discussing clothing and shoes. So for all of those, make sure you're going to have to look at a lot of different places. But maybe you want to focus on just some of the places that sell everything. So again, some of your brick and mortar stores, which also can be online as well, but you can go in today, find what you need, come back out today with stuff in your hand. We were talking about maybe Walmart or Target. You can also look at places like Big Lots for some of the things. If you need the furniture, if you need some school supplies, that's also another place to look. Dollar Tree. Dollar Tree is another space that can be looked at. Dollar Tree has some awesome things that you can use throughout the year, even when it comes to school supplies. That's a great resource, a great place to look. Department stores. Think about the different department stores you may be able to go into. Some of them have decent sales, and you can find some things, even if it's on the clearance rack. Sometimes you can find some amazing finds on the clearance rack at a department store, and those items may sometimes be cheaper than what you find at a discount store. Think about places like Old Navy. That's a great place especially if you know you need to get uniforms. And I do believe that Target and Walmart have uniforms available too. And don't forget thrift stores like Goodwill. That's a great place to look as well, because you may be able to find everything at a Goodwill or at a thrift store. Now there are some online stores that you can try. For instance, Amazon has everything, so price compare there. And then also look at Temu. People are doing different things with Temu all the time. They're purchasing things. This depends, again, whenever you're ordering stuff online, think about how long it's going to take for you to get it. If there's an urgency, you may want to go with one thing or one online store versus another. If there's not, because sometimes some items from online stores may take a week or two before they come in, so consider that as well. Now there's some other online stores that maybe you didn't think about where they have secondhand and brand new items. For instance, think about places like eBay or online stores like eBay. Another online store is Mercari. Another one is Poshmark. They have some amazing finds. You might be able to find some things a little cheaper, even brand new items that can be deeply discounted for your student. So think about that. Once you have created your budget, then you've listed things by line item. Hopefully you'll be able to come up with a figure or an amount that you are willing to spend for back to school. Again, the purpose of the budget and to list everything is so that you will have an idea of how much things may cost, and also to keep you on track and on target so you don't overspend. Speaking of spending and purchasing things online, I mentioned secondhand retailers such as eBay, Mercari, and Poshmark. I will provide a link below for Mercari and Poshmark. With the referral link, you will get $10 off an item that you purchase. Now, I'll be honest, I'll also get $10 too, but think of it this way. If you're going to buy stuff anyway, why not get a free $10 and utilize it? Thank you for watching. If you found value in this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up. Also, leave in the comments if there's something that I might have missed while I was talking about budgets and assessing needs and creating a budget for back to school, and list it below. Part 3 will be about the teachers. Teachers, be on the lookout for how you can go back to school, back to campus without spending a lot. So until then, I'll see you later. Bye.